Why do we destroy what we love? Why do we run from what we need? We say we want peace, but we chase chaos. We say we want love, but we sabotage every chance to feel it. We scroll until our brains go numb. We sleep with people we don't care about just to feel something. We chase validation from people we don't even respect. And we call this freedom. But it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like hunger, endless, shapeless, unfed. Something inside us is broken, and we don't know if it's because of who we are or what the world has made us. We fear ourselves, our thoughts, our past, our needs. We medicate the symptoms, we distract the impulses. We repress the feelings until they twist into something else. Addiction, rage, numbness, shame. And somewhere inside, a question burns. Why are we like this? Sigmund Freud had an answer. And it wasn't comforting. He said we are animals, civilized on the outside, primitive underneath, driven by lust, by aggression, by the deep desire to dominate, to possess, to release. Our minds are battlegrounds, a war between our instincts and the laws we pretend to live by. Man is not a gentle creature, Freud said, who wants love, but a creature whose instincts include aggression. He believed we don't love out of purity. We love to tame the monster within, and if we don't control it, it controls us. But not everyone agreed. Erich Fromm looked at the same human condition and saw something else. He said maybe we're not monsters. Maybe we're just abandoned, lost, isolated, disconnected from each other and from meaning itself. To Fromm, the real hunger wasn't for power or sex. It was for belonging, for love, for something that makes all of this make sense. So who's right? Are we wild beasts with blood on our teeth, forced into cages by civilization? Or are we broken hearts, walking through a cold world, just trying to remember what it means to feel whole? This is not just theory. This is our reflection. Because we live this every day. In the lies we tell, in the love we chase, in the emptiness we bury under money, lust, noise, screens, and shallow connections. There's a war inside us. And whether it's instinct or loneliness, it's eating us alive. Freud believed the beast is real, hidden just beneath our skin. And the only way to survive it is to control it first. Sigmund Freud didn't care who we pretended to be. He wanted to know what we were when the mask came off. He believed we are not guided by reason. We are driven by desire, raw, repressed, terrifying. Not the desire to be good, but the desire to feel, to dominate, to escape, to release what's been boiling underneath for too long. The mind, he said, is not a sanctuary. It's a battlefield. Freud divided us into layers. The conscious, the unconscious, the ego, the id, the superego. The id, our primitive core, demands pleasure now. Food, sex, power, attention. It doesn't care about consequences. It wants what it wants, and it wants it now. The superego is the voice of morality, parents, society, rules, guilt. It tells us what we should do and punishes us when we don't. And in the middle, the ego, trying to keep the peace, trying to survive the war inside us. Civilization, Freud wrote, is built on the repression of instinct. We aren't peaceful by nature. We're made peaceful through pressure, through control, through fear. And every act of self-control, every rule we follow, every smile we fake, comes with a cost. Freud believed that behind our work, our goals, our relationships, there is always something else whispering underneath. A darker need, a forbidden hunger. He saw this especially in dreams, where the unconscious speaks without filters. He said dreams aren't random. They are coded messages from the part of us we try to silence. Even our love is suspect. He believed love was real, but always tangled in instinct. We don't just want intimacy. We want possession. We want comfort, but also control. We want to be held, but not caged. And when those needs clash, we call it heartbreak. But Freud would call it inevitable. He even warned that therapy wasn't about healing in the romantic sense. It was about managing, learning how to walk through life with a beast on a leash, knowing it can still turn on us at any moment. To him, the human condition was a lifelong conflict between the wild thing inside and the world that says act normal. And in that tension, we create art. We write poetry, we make war, we fall in love, we betray, we dream. Because even in our quietest moments, the animal never really sleeps. We don't become human by nature. We become human by force, by chaining the beast and learning to live with the echoes of its roar. But Fromm looked at that same beast and asked a different question. What if it's not hunger we're hiding from, but emptiness? Freud believed we are beasts, tamed by guilt, driven by hunger, ruled by instinct. But Erich Fromm looked into the same darkness and saw not a beast, but a child left behind, a soul disconnected, a mind exiled from meaning, not savage, but starving. Starving not for sex, not for dominance, but for connection, for love, for wholeness, for belonging. Fromm believed our greatest human need is not to release desire, but to escape isolation. He said we are born alone, and unless we find a way to reconnect, we suffer in silence. Not because we are evil, but because we are afraid. The deepest need of man, Fromm wrote, is to overcome his separateness, to leave the prison of his aloneness. Freud gave us libido. Fromm gave us loneliness. To Fromm, the real sickness of modern life isn't repression, it's disconnection. We live surrounded by people, yet we feel utterly alone. We have constant communication, and no real communion. We chase sex, followers, entertainment, but not out of instinct, out of emptiness, because something in us longs to be seen, to be held, to be understood without performance or fear. But modern society doesn't teach us to love. It teaches us to consume, to climb, to win, to protect ourselves at all costs. Love, Fromm said, is not a feeling. It is an art, a practice, a discipline. It requires presence, patience, vulnerability, the courage to let someone into the raw, unfiltered parts of us. And yet, we run from it, because we were never taught how to love. We were taught how to be liked, how to be impressive, how to be safe. Fromm believed we lost love the moment we turned it into a transaction. Likes instead of letters, hookups instead of healing, attention instead of intimacy. Modern man, Fromm wrote, is alienated from himself, from his fellow man, and from nature. And that alienation is killing us, not with violence, but with quiet sadness, the kind we carry into work, into relationships, into bed, wondering why nothing ever feels enough. Fromm didn't deny that instincts exist. He didn't reject Freud's beast. He just believed the beast is not the whole story. Because if we're only animals, why do we feel such sorrow? Why do we write poetry? Why do we crave meaning more than survival? Because underneath our biology is a soul that doesn't just want to survive, it wants to feel real, to be known, to matter. Freud warned us about desire. Fromm reminded us of love. And between those two forces, we are torn. So who are we really? A beast fighting against instinct, or a soul suffocating without meaning? We carry pain, but we don't know where it comes from. We sabotage love, we chase what hurts, we drown in overthinking, and still, we don't understand why. Freud said, because there's a beast inside us. Fromm said, because we've been abandoned. Two voices, two visions of the human soul. One sees chaos needing control. The other sees sorrow begging to be seen. Let's face them side by side and see which one knows us better. 1. What drives us? Freud says we're driven by instincts. Sex, power, survival. Our behavior is a disguise, a mask covering animal urges. Even our dreams, our slips of the tongue, our jokes, are windows into what we've repressed. To Freud, we are haunted by the primitive, and civilized life is just damage control. But Fromm disagreed. He believed we are driven not by base desire, but by existential hunger. A hunger to belong, to be free, to find purpose in a world that makes no promises. We are not just animals. We are souls, starving for meaning in a system that forgot we have one. 2. Why do we suffer? Freud says we suffer because we are forced to repress. We can't express our lust, our rage, our fantasies. So they turn inward and become anxiety, depression, addiction. Civilization demands sacrifice, and we pay for it with our sanity. Fromm, instead, saw suffering as alienation, not just from others, but from ourselves. We're so conditioned to perform, to impress, to compete, that we've lost touch with who we really are. And the deeper that gap grows, the more unbearable life becomes. 3. What is love? Freud saw love as a battleground of instincts. We desire, we idealize, we project. But underneath it all is need. Love, in his view, is bound to frustration, because no one can truly satisfy the endless cravings of the id. Fromm saw love as the antidote to the sickness of separation, not lust, not obsession, but love as a spiritual act, a choice to care, to serve, to see another as more than a tool for pleasure. Love for Fromm wasn't escape, it was evolution. 4. What makes us human? To Freud, what makes us human is our capacity to control the beast within, to redirect sexual and aggressive energy into art, ideas, culture. He believed maturity meant surrendering to reality, learning to live with conflict. Fromm said humanity isn't defined by repression, but by transcendence. Our highest potential isn't in controlling desire, but in rising above it, in building a life of integrity, freedom, and love. Not just surviving, but becoming whole. 5. And so, who are we? Freud's voice whispers, you are dangerous. You must be tamed. Your desires will destroy you unless they're chained. Fromm's voice replies, you are alone. You must reconnect. Your pain is not evil. It's evidence you are meant for more. One teaches us to fear what we feel. The other urges us to feel what we fear. One offers realism, the other offers hope. But maybe the truth is this: we are both. We are beasts, but beasts that dream, beasts that mourn, beasts that crave not just pleasure, but purpose. We are orphans of meaning, searching for a home in a world that gave us instincts, but no direction. And unless we listen to both voices, we'll never truly understand the war inside us. And if we keep living without answers, the cost isn't just confusion, it's our soul. We live in a world full of symptoms, anxiety, addiction, depression, burnout. We chase pleasure, scroll endlessly, fall into meaningless relationships. Not because we're bad people, but because we're trying to fill something we don't even have words for. Freud would say we're repressing desires we're too afraid to confront. Fromm would say we're burying our need for love and meaning under distractions that leave us emptier. And both might be right. We live fast, we perform, we compete. But when the noise fades, we're alone with ourselves. And that's when it hits. That hollow silence, that ache beneath the skin, that question we keep pushing away. Why do I feel like this? We blame ourselves. We call it laziness, weakness, lack of discipline. But maybe it's just the result of a war inside us that we were never taught to understand. A war between instinct and connection, between primal urges and forgotten needs, between the beast that wants to escape and the soul that wants to come home. And if we don't learn to hear both sides, if we reduce ourselves to just biology or just spirit, we fracture. We become efficient machines, but emotionally dead. Or we become emotionally awake, but paralyzed by instinct we don't understand. We lose balance. We lose ourselves. And worst of all, we stop asking deeper questions because the pain becomes normal. And that is the real tragedy. Not that we suffer, but that we start believing this suffering is who we are. Freud gave us the fire. Fromm gave us the heart. And somewhere in between, we're left trying to survive. Caught between instinct and meaning, fear and love, hunger and hope. Maybe we are animals, but animals who dream of more. Maybe we are lonely, but loneliness that proves we were meant for connection. We are not just the things we want, and we are not just the pain we carry. We are the space between, the tension, the contradiction, the question that keeps us awake at night. And maybe that's okay. Because the moment we stop trying to choose between Freud or Fromm and start listening to what both reveal about us, that's when something deeper opens. Something honest, something whole. Not a cure, but a mirror. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of healing.